203-0266. There's no area code you need to dial. You can call that number directly. People will be there to answer your questions until 6:30 tonight.
Real easy, real important.
Very important.
11 Live News at 6, just getting started. An offer of limited tickets for an Elton John concert here in Atlanta gets fans all worked up.
And a court battle between banks and credit unions could leave new accounts hanging in the balance. Next at 6. Where you put your savings and have your checking account may soon be out of your hands. That decision is now up to the United States Supreme Court. Banks say credit unions are going too far by going after small, independent groups of people. Our business editor, Bill Liss, himself an attorney, takes a closer look now at how this can affect you.
For 750,000 Georgians, the credit union has become their banking alternative. Denise Abrams works for the Cobb County Schools and uses the Mako Educators Federal Credit Union.
The fees are reasonable, just a lot better service and a lot better prices than with a regular bank.
But the banks say credit unions are taking their customers, and they want future membership narrowed. The nation's highest court will now decide if credit unions have gone too far afield in soliciting customers from smaller groups that go beyond the single industries, companies, or community groups that the tax-exempt unions were first set up to handle. Mako, for one, now has membership from numerous small teacher groups in both Cobb and Cherokee counties. Reginald Copeland and Grant Albright both use a credit union and a bank, but they want to decide which to use personally.
I think everyone ought to have the right to invest their money and to bank wherever they choose to bank.
I think credit unions should be able to get any members they would like. I enjoy doing my business at the credit union, and I don't want any restrictions.
But will banks close the door on credit union expansion? We'll know next summer. And credit unions say that with corporate downsizing and companies scattering locations, they simply must be allowed to continue bringing in smaller groups unrelated to each other to survive. Or will they? The next move is now up to the courts. Brenda, Mike, back to you.
As you said, and we'll have to wait for a decision next spring.
Thanks for your report, Bill. It has been a frustrating day for some drivers in Paulding County.
And this is why an overturned truck causes major traffic headaches.
Applebee's introduces luscious new combinations of our original riblets, paired with so-tender sirloin steak.
Add a mammography to the things they can pick up at Perimeter Mall. Today was the opening day of the Permanent Mammography Center, which will be open from Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6 p.m. When they say the screening process will only take about 15 minutes.
A medical first for Georgia, a split liver transplant. The procedure was performed at Eggleston Children's Hospital this past weekend. Doctors successfully divided a donated liver and transplanted it to 2 patients. Both patients are doing well. They're expected to go home tomorrow.
Still ahead on WGNX News at 6, the efforts to save lives through fire prevention.
But first, we had a beautiful weekend. What about the week ahead? Meteorologist Shane Butler has our forecast.
All right, it's going to feel more like summer out there. Warm and dry weather through the next few days with lots of sunshine on the week's forecast. Coming up.
On sexual harassment. He says the State Patrol has no tolerance for sexual misconduct of any kind from its officers and will fire any employee found guilty of breaking the law.
Colonel Miles remains dedicated that sexual harassment will not be tolerated in the Department of Public Safety, and that's why he made sure every employee of this department has gone through that 2-hour training taught by the legal staff who have seen instances and things of that nature, can put it in plain English that everyone can understand.
Now, the report investigation states that both fondling incidences were witnessed by other troopers. Our attempts to reach Ms. Bennett went unsuccessful today at her home. Now, we were told by Mr. Wright that Bennett has appealed her case at the State Personnel Board. Live in Southeast Atlanta, Karen Isley, Fox 5 Eyewitness News.
Karen, any idea how long that appeal will take?
No, we don't, Roy.
All right, Karen, thanks for that report.
Ackworth police have identified the victim of a single-car wreck that shut down a stretch of Highway 41 yesterday. Police say Ricky Lee Hughes of Cartersville was the only one in his car when it overturned in the median, killing him. It is still unclear what caused the wreck. Another accident yesterday, this one in Gwinnett County, claims another life. Police say the driver was reaching for something when she lost control of the car on Highway 316 near Georgia Highway 8. A passenger, 20-year-old T.J. Barnett of Rome, was killed. Police say she was not wearing a seatbelt and was thrown from the vehicle. 2 others were injured, 1 critically.
Next on Fox 5 Eyewitness News at 6, the man recently convicted in the death of an infant is offering forgiveness today to the daughter who testified against him. Not that she's asking.
And Chief Meteorologist Ken Cook tells us how much longer these summer-like temperatures will continue to invade our fall season.
Amanda, they will continue for a while longer until the next cold front moves along, and we'll have the forecast for the week coming up in just a few minutes.
If you see news happening, call the Eyewitness Newsroom. Just dial *5 on your Bell self-mobility cell phone. The call is free. You can be a part of Eyewitness News.
Really sell that.
Some people can tell them, some can't. You could point to something.
He did need something on that line, but anyway, they had
should stick to his day job.
Good point. All right, let's check out our weather for the rest of tonight. Our forecast looks like this: partly cloudy, low of about 66 degrees, so a very nice evening is on tap. Got to sell that stuff. Oh, but I know where he's been on that stuff, too. 78 degrees, 62%. The air is calm. Barometric pressure is falling. 30.16 inches. Our high today, 83. 63 the morning low. Normals, 30-year averages, if you will. 76 and 56. So we were above normal, but not even close to the records. Let's take a look at the maps and show you what's going on. First of all, we have a little bit of a storm system moving through the Great Lakes states. Heavy storms around Minneapolis, St. Paul. In fact, west of the city, there was a 30 to 60-mile-long stretch of hail on the ground. Gives you an idea of how intense those thunderstorms were during the late morning hours. Also, a few showers onshore northern portions of California, a lot of rain in sections of Texas. That's associated with our weather because we have a big ridge of high pressure. The circulation around that is clockwise, and so all that moisture is getting pulled right out of the Gulf into portions of Texas. Looks like this pattern is going to stay put for at least the next several days, probably through the end of the week. And what that means for us is a lot of sunshine, temperatures above normal, some afternoon clouds at times, and maybe a few isolated showers toward the end of the week. 83 right now at Huntsville, 82 at Savannah, 85 at Columbia, and 76 being reported up at Asheville. Tomorrow morning, we'll see highs, or lows rather, in the 50s in North Georgia, 60s in the southern two-thirds of the state, and then tomorrow afternoon, most of the state in the 80s. Here's our forecast for the rest of tonight. Partly cloudy, low of about 66 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, unseasonably warm, 86, about the same on Wednesday. And our extended forecast, we drop temperatures just a little bit, humidity levels come up, but the sunshine stays put toward the weekend.
President called. He said he didn't think your lines were so great either.
Gotta sell it.
Yeah,
That's what he
sorry
said.
about that.
Thanks a lot.
All right. And now a word about tonight's in-depth report at 11 o'clock. A personal story from one of our own. Reporter Marie Ryan tells us of her battle with breast cancer, how her disease was originally missed, and what she did to save her own life. The lessons Marie learned that every woman and her spouse should know. That's coming up tonight on 11 Alive News at 11.
Very powerful story. Astros down, Marlins to go. Fred Khalil's at Turner Field. Hey, Fred.
Well, we had the Braves pitching matchup for you yesterday. Today, we'll tell you what Jimmy Leland's going to do with the Marlins. Coming up next.
And here's a look now at tonight's primetime lineup.
Rating a reduction in fire deaths in Georgia this year. They say by this time last year, twice as many people had died from fire or fire-related injuries.
Still ahead on WGNX News at 6, Mark Harmon with sports.
If it's October, the Braves are in the playoffs. I'll take you to the Braves' final practice before kicking off the NLCS coming up next in sports.
Just 3 seconds after the race starts, one cyclist slams over the head of the other driver, and the bone-breaking bang-up is all caught on tape. Amazing people, incredible events on real TV.
Tonight at 7:30 on CBS 46.
Field is practice day today. You
Oh,
gotta get ready.
Hey, hey, how's it going? Practice day today, and Jim Leland revealed his starting rotation for this NLCS. Kevin Brown is going to go in games 1, game 4, and game 7 if necessary. Alex Fernandez goes in game 2 and game 6. Tony Saunders, who is 3-0 against the Braves, 1-6 against the rest of the National League, goes in game 3, and Al Leiter will go in game 5. There, hope you got it. Now let's give you the final word on Mark Lemke. The Braves second baseman took some ground balls today and just could not do it. So Lemmer will not be on the roster for the League Championship Series, and I talked to Bobby Cox about the decision.
He did a lot of things good the last 2 days. He hit the ball good. He's moving pretty darn good at second base, and he's not running real well. He's still hobbling just some, and I think our next step really is on the travel day. I think on Wednesday, maybe after the ball game, Mark can catch a flight down to Orlando and play Thursday morning down there in the Instructional League. and just see how he feels.
I think that's the only thing I can do right now. I mean, I think that's the best thing, to go down there and actually play and to see what the results are.
So, again, Mark Lemke will not be on the roster for the League Championship Series. Chipper Jones did not participate in today's workout. I mean, just a little batting practice and fielding is all the Braves did, but Chipper did not do it. Fouled something off his foot yesterday, and he was in the training room most of this morning, so Chipper did not take part. Now let's show you some of the other guys who did take part today. The Braves just pretty relaxed. Andrew Jones, you see him there. There was an injury to his finger, but he is going to be okay. He says he is ready to go. As for Ryan Klesko, here's a guy who really can't wait to play the Marlins. He's got a home down in Delray Beach. Let's hear from Ryan.
That's my home down there, and you know, I figured if the best team's going to win when we come out, and little things are going to count big in this series. You know, we're going to have to get runners over. We're going to have to do situations and not make any mistakes. And this team's done well with that. And I think that if we can continue doing that, especially the last month of the season, is we're going to go out and we're going to be victorious.
You know, it's a solid ball club. They've got real good pitching. Their bullpen has real good depth, in my opinion. And they've got a good bench. They got some. If you got Dalton and Eiswright and guys like that sitting on the bench, you're doing pretty darn good.
And the Marlins did work out today. They worked out about 4 o'clock. Manager Jimmy Leland and a few other guys were in the media center for interviews, but the Marlins closed the clubhouse before the workout. And in fact, Jimmy Leland even had thoughts of closing the workout to the media. We all know about the Marlins spending $89 million this offseason to get a lot of free agents, but you know what? Leland doesn't want to hear any of that.
You know, we obviously spent some money, so some other teams that haven't gotten the postseason, but I don't know. I just can't believe that any of my guys were in San Francisco or Pro Player Stadium the last few days thinking about what the payroll was. When they were jumping around, you wouldn't know they made a nickel.
And don't forget, our coverage begins tomorrow night right here on 11 Alive with Braves Beat 97 at 7:30 p.m. And Game 1 shortly after 8 o'clock, the Marlins and the Braves in the NLCS. We're live at Turner Field. We'll see you tonight at 11 o'clock.
All right, be there. Thanks.
It is 11 Alive at 6 for this evening. Thanks for joining us.
NBC Nightly News is coming up next. We'll see you back here again tonight at 11 o'clock. Until then, have a great evening.
"11 News Scribe." Closed captioning for the hearing impaired is brought to you by Delta Airlines. You'll love the way we fly. Exclusive pictures of one of the last happy times in Princess Diana's life. Remember Diana through the eyes of a child, and her life erased by a tragic accident. Could love bring back the memories she forgot? Inside Edition. Tonight at 7 on CBS 46. Viruses.
Athens and Gainesville area will see some 50s still lingering up in those mountains, especially in the valleys and all the way up through Pittsburgh area. But 60s just floods the whole area now in these warm south and southwesterly winds all the way up to Chicago and even up to Cleveland, where the temperatures may be around 60 degrees come tomorrow morning. High pressure over the southeastern United States is not going to really go very far in the next 24 hours. It's kind of drifting around there, just wandering around a little bit. Rain showers in Florida, rain showers in Texas, and mostly dry weather everywhere else. Highs tomorrow as a result, with all that sunshine, will continue to climb into the 80s, and some areas to our east and the south part of the state up through the central parts of Carolinas will be at 90 or 92 degrees. Our forecast looks like this for tonight: a clear and mild night of 60 to 65 degrees. Tomorrow morning, bright, maybe some fog around 60 to 65. As the day goes on, a warm and pleasant day of 82 to 87. The next 5 days, we think, will just stay dry, mostly sunny, temperatures climbing into the mid-80s. Some areas maybe the upper 80s, and lows in the mid-60s, maybe upper 60s by the time we get to Saturday or Sunday. No change. If the grass is dry, you better put the sprinkler out. No rain for the next several days. We'll come back. Another look at our forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
And there's much more news ahead at 6:30. Elton John's coming to town, but it takes more than money to get a seat at the Roxy to see the superstar. Plus, internet security. Does it really exist for consumers buying online? Find out from some of the sharpest minds in the industry.
5 Eyewitness News. Dedicated, determined, dependable. It's 6:30, and here's what's making news right now.
Hardly a day goes by that hackers don't invade the personal space of internet users, and often with criminal intent, ripping off credit card numbers and other personal information. Well, computer experts from around the world are in Atlanta this week to make the internet a safer place to buy. And Fox 5's Mark Mooney talked with a few of them today. Mark?
Well, Roy, whether you think the internet is all hype or all hope, most experts agree it could be a safer place for commerce on the internet. That's why everybody is talking about encryption technology, the technology that allows you to put your information over the internet and guarantee its safety. Public opinion polls show that consumers are wary of buying over the internet. Without adequate encryption technology to secure data, your most personal information can be viewed.
There's also active attacks where people deliberately modify transactions, transferring $1,000 instead of $1 from my account to yours.
Computer experts gathered in Atlanta are looking at the future of the internet and trying to bring its promise as a shopping mall to reality. Many banks are already securing transactions, but what may really give the net a boost is the assignment to individual consumers of a permanent personal key that goes with them everywhere on the internet.
It's essentially a code, call them private keys, and these private keys are done on an individual basis, and they're just really long numbers that would be very hard for somebody else to crack them.
The encryption technology is already out there, experts say, to help build consumer confidence in the net. But governments and their export restrictions on technology might hold back the potential for truly secure global commerce.
The problem is it makes us all use weaker security to meet the requirements all these different governments have put in place.
Banks are leading the way with online transactions people are slowly coming to accept as safe. And the experts confirm they are as secure as anything you can do, even walking up to a human bank teller to do business. Well, in some ways, business is as wary of the internet as consumers. Retailers, for example, want the encryption, decryption technology that enables them to certify that an order they're getting over the internet is valid. In many cases, they're hoaxes. Orders for $5,000 of women's shoes, for example, is one such case recently. Mark Mooney, live in the newsroom. Back to you.
All right, Mark, thanks. Smyrna's police department is settling into a new facility. We'll have more on that in just a moment. An officer raised the flag this morning at the new police headquarters and jail on Atlanta Road. In addition to employees and officers, inmates also made the short trip from the old jail about a block away to the new facility. More than 120 employees work for Smyrna Police, and many of them will now be reporting for work at the new building.
Elton John's emotional tribute to Princess Diana adds to the mystique surrounding the popular singer, and that makes it even more difficult to get a ticket to an upcoming concert here in Atlanta. As Fox 5's Angeline Correa tells us, getting a seat was like playing the lottery, literally.
He puts on the best performance I've ever seen. This is one of those rare events that only happens so many times in your life,
Candles burned out long before.
He's captured the hearts of music lovers all over the world. Now, Elton John's hometown fans get a special treat.
Of their schools. While 26% rated them excellent or good, 70% rated them fair or poor. And Atlantans are concerned about their sewer problems. 73% rated the city's sewer department as fair or poor. But asked who's responsible for the sewer troubles, only 24% blame Campbell, 31% blame the city council, and 30% blame someone else. Our poll found that Atlanta voters are not particularly happy with the performance of their city council. 55% said they disapprove of the job the city council is doing, 31% approve. And the school board gets low marks too. 29% approve, while 54% disapprove of the job the board is doing. Bill Nygett, Channel 2 Action News.
The Channel 2 Atlanta News, Action News Atlanta Journal-Constitution poll also gave Bill Campbell a substantial lead over his nearest opponent, Marvin Arrington. Campbell had 47% support to Arrington's 26%.
A baby burned during surgery coming up on Channel 2 Action News at 6. What went wrong during a routine procedure?
And they're searching for an armored car driver who is missing, along with millions of dollars, missing from the Carolinas. That story is next.
because it focuses more on poise and grace.
And she has a lot. Obviously, she won.
We wish her well.
All right, still ahead here on Fox 5 Eyewitness News at 6. The death of a child killed while out selling candy door to door changes the policy of at least one school system.
Plus, President Clinton's line item veto strikes through some Georgia projects.
With more local news than any Georgia television station, you're watching Fox 5 Eyewitness News.
They're handsome.
You're my favorite knight.
They're virile. They've even changed their underwear.
The boys are all dressed up for the ballet.
And remember, Tim, this is a grown-up place, and I want you to be on your best behavior.
But free basketball tickets sideline their plans.
We are going to be in a lot of trouble.
You didn't go to the ballet, did you?
Yes, I did.
Then how does it end?
The audience wakes up and stumbles to their car.
Home Improvement. Tonight at 7:30 on Fox 5 Atlanta.
Voila. Had a 47% approval rating. His main challenger, Marvin Arrington, had 26%, and those figures were correct, as we reported. However, the visual to reflect those numbers was incorrect. And just to set the record straight, those are indeed the correct numbers. Campbell with 47%, Arrington 26%.
An officer is under investigation in Florida, and a man gets away with $50 million in cash.
We're covering America tonight with stories from Royal Oak, Michigan, Charlotte, North Carolina, and Orlando, Florida.
Federal authorities are investigating a police officer shooting in Orlando. An Orlando officer shot 2 suspects after they took off after a routine traffic stop yesterday. The suspects dragged the officer when they sped off, and that's when he shot them both. The officer, the 2 suspects, were taken to area hospitals. One of the suspects is behind bars. The other is still in the hospital. The officer is okay.
Students are back in class today at the Mississippi high school that was the site of a deadly rampage last week. 16-year-old Luke Woodham is accused of killing his mother and then opening his fire at his school in Pearl, Mississippi, killing 2 students and injuring 7 others. A baby is burned while in the care of a Detroit hospital. The infant was burned on his face when his bedding caught fire. That was sparked by an electric tool a doctor was using to insert an intravenous line. The baby is premature, and even though doctors say the burns are not life-threatening, the infant is in critical condition.
The FBI is looking for a North Carolina armored car driver. He disappeared along with a company van and $15 million. His wife reported David Gant missing yesterday. His employer, Loomis Fargo and Company, discovered the money and the van missing a couple of hours later. Now, investigators say they are not ruling out Gant may be a victim in the crime.
Well, some students are not ready for college coursework. Details on a plan to get them better prepared coming up on Channel 2 Action News at 6.
Coming up next, a live report from Washington. It's the banks versus the credit unions. The highest court in the land could determine where you're allowed to do your banking.
Thank you for calling the Scudder Funds.
This is Richard Lays. How may I help you?
In all, the president vetoed nearly $300 million worth of military projects. The crew of the Space Shuttle Atlantis is back on terra firma. The shuttle landed at Kennedy Space Center around 6 o'clock, wrapping up a mission that included a 6-day stopover at the Russian space station Mir.
Atlantis now rolling out on runway 15 at KSC, ending an 11-day, 4.2 million mile journey to deliver astronaut David Wolf to the Mir space station and bring astronaut Michael Foale home after 145 days in space.
Atlantis was supposed to return to Earth yesterday, but was delayed by bad weather. The shuttle brings back astronaut Michael Foale, who spent 4.5 months aboard Mir. Foale's wife says he has a surprise in store. Their 3-year-old son started talking while Daddy was away.
It's amazing what they can learn in 4.5 months.
Oh, it goes so fast.
What a surprise. Still to come here on Fox 5 Eyewitness News at 6. The day's top stories, including the arrest of a man accused of raping a teen police say he met on the internet.
Also next, Ken Cook says if you like today's weather, you're in good shape for tomorrow. Another check of the forecast is next.
Next, all new People's Court. They wanted to give the floor a facelift before they moved in.
The doors are always open.
But the landlord freaked out. Ed Koch rules. Next, all new People's Court.
Tomorrow at 9 on Fox 5 Atlanta.
Dowdle, Christy Deer, and Bill Hartman, right here on your Brave station at 5, 6, and 11 on Channel 2 Action News.
On tomorrow's Oprah, it's the good.
Don't you dare ever date a man that would not treat you as well as your father would.
Yes, Yes! The bad and ugly side of men's behavior.
He reached out and connected with you.
If I said anything I was talking too much on the show, he'd grab my hand and squeeze it.
Dr. Laura's back with 10 stupid things men do to mess up their lives. Dr. Laura hit a nerve. She tells it like it is.
That's a lie.
See? I told you she's straight to the point.
Tomorrow's Oprah.
Tomorrow at 4, followed by Channel 2 Action News at 5.
Compassion.
They're partly sunny to partly cloudy through Saturday. No rain in sight. Daytime highs will be in the mid-80s. Lows at night in the low to mid-60s. Off to the lake tomorrow. Pretty good day. Very good, in fact, early in the morning between 6 and 9 with a peak into the excellent range at 7 a.m. Another peak near the good range at 6:30 tomorrow evening. Looks like a great day to be on a lake tomorrow.
Thanks. Police arrest a Gwinnett County man for allegedly raping a girl he met over the internet. An update on our top story next on Channel 2 Action News.
And this is Glenn Burns. Our live Cash 3 drawing is coming up in just a few minutes. Stay tuned.
On Wall Street, the week off to a good start. On an up note, the Dow Jones Industrial is closing more than 61 points up.
Tonight's stock report is brought to you by Interstate Johnson Lane, serving Georgia investors for over 60 years.
On the next Entertainment Tonight, Joan Collins.
It was date rape.
The star shares her shocking secrets of rape and abuse.
He tried to sell me to an Arab sheikh.
Then John Travolta finally loses control, and only E.T.'s behind the scenes to show you. Plus,
he also melted fat that was under my chin.
From her eyes to her chin, this TV star shares her plastic surgery secrets on Entertainment Tonight.
Tonight at 7:30 on Channel 2.
So they're going to go fishing and catch some marlins this time around?
We'll find out. We'll know better in about a week. The Braves and the Marlins, we knew October would be represented by these two teams in the National League. They were just better than everybody else. The Braves really bringing out the idealist in all of us. No one is sure where they are going, but they are indeed on their way. The starting pitchers tomorrow, Greg Maddux against Kevin Brown. Brown against the Braves in 1997, a 2.14 ERA. The Braves are hitting .197 against him. Jim Leland says that he just may pitch this guy 3 times in the series. And you know what? That's visions of Doug Drabek with the Pirates earlier in the decade. And correct me if I'm wrong, weren't the Pirates eliminated by the Braves twice in 1991 and 1992? All right, now let's go live to Turner Field. Ken Rodriguez is standing by. All yours, Ken.
Jeff, Jim Leland would not appreciate your sense of history. He's still smarting from that 92 loss to the Braves right here at home plate, actually across at Fulton County Stadium. But speaking of Kevin Brown, he spoke for the entire Marlins team when he said they knew in the offseason they'd have to go through the Braves in order to get to the World Series. That being said, the time has come also to find out if that $90 million investment they made to catch the Braves pays off.
Sometimes I feel like somebody's watching me.
That somebody is the Florida Marlins and manager Jim Leland, who's trying to keep his team out in left field and away from the media, focused on the elusive National League pennant. Asked about what roster moves he plans to surprise the Braves with, Leland said,
no comment on that yet.
And that adds to the mystery this Florida team has provided the Braves, who batted a miserable .210 while losing 8 of 12 games to the Marlins in this regular season, something the Braves are trying to put behind them.
If we had beaten the Marlins 12 in a row.
John, I don't think there's any doubt about it. If you're a baseball fan, you got to love this. I'll tell you what.
It's going to be pretty stingy.
Despite a Marlins lineup that includes heavy hitters like Sheffield, Bonilla, and Alou, Braves pitcher Mark Wohlers feels it's a little contact hitter like shortstop Edgar Renteria that may give Atlanta the most trouble.
The people that you wouldn't think that are wouldn't be as aggressive make pretty good contact, like Renteria. You know, you figure young guys have a tendency to chase more than veteran guys will sit back and look for a pitch. But Renteria is a type of guy that he swings, but he makes contact.
And we'll have to keep an eye on him. Renteria hit .313 with 5 RBIs in 11 games against the Braves this season. That's it from Turner Field. Back to you, Jeff.
Thank you, Ken. Nice job. Games go this way. It will be tomorrow at 8:07. We will see Maddox versus Brown. 19-4 faces 16-8. Then game 2 Wednesday at 4:07. An afternoon game here. Glavin against Fernandez. Interesting pitch-up matchups all the way around. Baseball tonight. Cleveland and New York. Winner take all to face the Orioles in the ALCS. Falcons back at work today. The NFL moves up and moves on. Mike Ditka goes against Dan Reeves. Two friends and former teammates in Dallas with their mentor Tom Landry. The Saints and the Bears yesterday. Chicago a loser to New Orleans. So who will start at quarterback? Here's Iron Mike.
I would assume that you think, I think you're my friends, and I know better. You're not. The media is never a coach's friend. So you people are all vultures, in my opinion. And I only say that in a complimentary way. But you will pluck the flesh the first chance you get. So if I make the decision to change him, then the article will be, or the comments will be, pulled the plug too quick.
Yeah, he should know. He worked for NBC for a couple of years. Also, here's a guy who could use a little Prozac in his raw meat.
You guys. You know you're in trouble when they start hollering about you guys. All right.
Thanks, Jeff.
A couple days off, and maybe on Thursday, our travel day, shoot him down to the instructional league and play a game down there and see exactly where he's at.
Still have a lot of pain in there, and probably could play, but if you don't really know, it's a risk you got to take with the roster situation. So.
No doubt about that, and the Braves will miss Mark Lemke again in this series. But don't forget now, Game 1 of the NLCS tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, right here at Turner Field, with Game 2, an afternoon affair, on Wednesday afternoon. Now let's talk about a little golf, and the golf in particular belonged to the heavyweight champion today, Evander Holyfield, hosting his tournament. There's Sugar Ray Leonard with him. They were up at Chateau Elan, taking in the afternoon action. More than 200 golfers taking part, all to raise money for a good cause, and that is the Holyfield Foundation. And there's the champ swing, and you can say all you want to say about it, but I know enough to keep my mouth shut. And I think that's a very wise thing, and one that I would suggest all of you follow. Don't you think so, John, Monica?
Well, he can't get to me. That's a bad swing. Bad. Thanks, Chuck.
You got it.
Updating our top story tonight, a Gwinnett County man is being held without bond accused of raping a 13-year-old girl he met over the internet. Police say 40-year-old Michael Shipman met the girl in an online chat room. He pretended to be another teenager. She gave him her address. Police say Shipman raped the girl at her home. He is charged with statutory rape, burglary, and aggravated child molestation.
Coming up on the Channel 2 Action News Night Beat, a new warning for parents about baby's bath time. A device meant to keep babies safe in the water may not offer the proper protection. We'll have that story after the game on the Channel 2 Action News Night Beat.
And we thank you for counting on Channel 2 Action News.
Georgia Lottery Daily Cash 3 drawing next, followed by ABC World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. We'll see you.
Want to talk about today's news? Channel 2 Action News is on the World Wide Web 24 hours a day at www.accessatlanta.com.
Hi, I'm Patrick Neither from Atlanta. Please stop the violence. Respect your brother.
Publix Supermarkets congratulates the Braves. Go Braves, you are World Series bound.
Right now, a final check of the forecast. Ken?
Couldn't be better. Mild nights, sunny days, and that's going to continue, looks like, for the entire week. All right, here it goes. Starting out tomorrow morning, some hazy sunshine, maybe a little bit of fog around 60 to 65. Tomorrow afternoon, it's going to be sunny and pleasant. Actually, on the warm side, I would say 82 to 87 degrees with a light wind condition. Really, no change except for a very slow warm-up. So starting 84 tomorrow, we should have a couple of days right around 85 on Wednesday and Thursday. A couple of days right around 86 on Friday and Saturday. And the nighttime lows look like they're going to edge up about 1 degree per night, end up in the 66 or 67 degree range.
Now remember, I'm from Boston. Is this normal at this time of year?
It's normal to have nice, dry weather. We're running 7 to 10 degrees above the average. So we're a little warmer than average, but not to be dry. That's pretty normal.
All right. Thank you, Ken.
Enjoy it. Finally tonight, a scene from another century comes to life in South Dakota. Custer State Park is home to one of the world's largest buffalo herds. Over the weekend, cowboys on horseback and in trucks rounded up thousands of the animals for their annual branding and vaccinations. Crowds lined up on the hillside to watch the buffalo roam. Each year, Custer State Park sells some of its buffalo to help support the facility.
What do they do with the buffalo that they sell?
Maybe to parks. How about that? Let's believe that.
Let's hope that. All right.
Other parks.
That is the news for now. For Jeff Hellinger, Ken Cook, and the rest of the Eyewitness News team, I'm Roy Hobbs, sitting in for Russ Spencer.
I'm Amanda Davis. Thanks for making Fox 5 Eyewitness News your choice for news at 6. Please join us tonight for Fox 5 Eyewitness News after the game. Extra is next.
Glenn Burns, and we're live from Atlanta for tonight's Cash 3 drawing, certified by Julie Scoggins of KPMG Pete Marwick. Remember to watch our Cash 4 and Fantasy 5 drawings tonight at 11 o'clock. 2 players matched all 5 numbers in last night's Fantasy 5 drawing and won more than $252,000 apiece. And Saturday's Lotto Georgia jackpot has now jumped to an estimated $4 million to a single winner. Right now, let's pick tonight's Cash 3 numbers. We have 3 machines, each with balls numbered 0 through 9. We're mixing them up, and our first Cash 3 winning number for tonight is the number 8. 8 will be followed by 4. And up next is 8 again. So your Cash 3 winning numbers again for tonight are 848. If you have 848 in any winning combination, congratulations.
This has been the Georgia Lottery Cash 3 drawing.
News Talk 750 WSB, Atlanta's news, weather, and traffic station.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight.